Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of this newsletter is going to be, I can't believe I'm dating her. Well, that's obviously part of your problem. When somebody says something like that to me, that just screams, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve her, I'm putting her on a pedestal. And usually what follows is not going to be good. So I got an email here from a viewer, and before we get into it, I got a quote that I wrote I'd like to share with you. And it says, human beings have two primary fears. Number one, fear that we don't have what it takes, enough education, looks, skills, talent, intelligence, resources, etc., to get what we want. And two, fear that we won't be loved and accepted by our friends, family, peer group, or lovers. These fears are what prevent most people from ever stretching beyond their comfort zone to go for what they really want in life, or to be able to hold on to what they really want when they have it. Be aware of your self-talk and what comes to mind when you think about what you want or take action to get what you want, so you are making decisions from a place of peace and certainty instead of fear and scarcity. Why? Because what you fear, you will attract. So let's get into this guy's email. He says, hey Corey, I'm 36 and divorced, and I got divorced 7 years ago when my ex-wife cheated on me and got pregnant by an older man who was very wealthy. Ouch, but that sounds like a lot of fun. He says, it broke my heart and I began to drink heavily. I already had a sort of a drinking problem, but it became much worse. So it sounds like you were using drinking instead of something to have a good time with, you were using it to escape from life. He says, long story short, I was a disaster for several years and became sober just in the past couple of years, and I recently began dating earlier this year. Well, good for you for working on yourself and taking care of the shit that you needed to take care of so you could get to a place where you could create a space to attract somebody great into your life. Because you got to be happy and enjoying your life and loving your life before you're ready to get into a relationship. If you're watching this and thinking, oh, I need a woman to make me happy, well, once you get that woman that you think is going to make you happy, 6 months, a year after the infatuation wears off or the honeymoon period ends, you're going to still be faced with the fact that your life totally sucks ass and you're not happy. And then it's going to be really hard to maintain your relationship because of the fact that you're not happy. You're no longer going to put your best foot forward into your relationship. He says, I've lost weight and I started running marathons. People are liking me again, and women tell me that I look good, and I'm in AA and my career is going really great. I met the girl of my dreams back in June through some mutual friends. She's hot, smart, has a great job, and I absolutely love being around her. Well, that doesn't surprise me. Obviously, he wrote me this email. He says, we've gone out over the past 2 years, and I love nothing more than being around her. I can tell you're totally acting dopey, and you're acting like you're not worthy. You're treating this woman like she's a celebrity. And you know what's interesting is pretty much all of the phone sessions that I did with guys today are this exact same type of thing. It's interesting how like attracts like. And this particular guy that wrote me this email is actually, he paid for email coaching, and so it's just like this, the theme that I was dealing with today with all these different clients. That's all of them what they were all doing. Putting women on a pedestal, treating them like a celebrity, acting like they're not worthy to be around her, or them I should say. And they all got rejected, stuck in friend zone, I need space, I need time away from you, that type of thing. And it's all out of their own fear and neediness that literally caused them to do too much, to pursue too much, to do what I like to call the illusion of action. Which is like one of those clients I was talking to, he was a little combative on the phone, and he just kept looking for reasons to do something. I was like, dude, she said, I will call you. And it's only been a few days, and he's just like fucking jumping out of his skin, wanting to do if I write her a letter, if I do this, what if I call her? And just looking for excuses to, I was like, well, what's the definition of insanity? It's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And my next question was, are you happy with the results that you've gotten so far in your dating life? Because this one particular client, every time he's ever dated a woman that he really liked, he's acted exactly like this guy, and all of them he's blown it. This is what used to happen to me when I was in my 20s. Because women like this, you just in every way, they light you up inside. You just feel fucking magnificent. It's like being around them, you literally feel like you have more energy. It's like when two people get together whose vibrations are aligned, it just, you feel more alive. You feel more excited. And not every woman, there's lots of beautiful women in this world, but very few women you're going to get around where just everything totally gels like that. And so those are special, and you don't want to fuck those up, because those are the ones that really hurt when you blow it. He says, she's the exact opposite of the girls I was with when I was drinking. She's at least an 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. I can't even believe I'm dating her. It's your birthright, bro. You deserve this. And obviously, if you have this kind of an amazing connection, she's feeling the same way about you. And on a scale of 1 to 10, you're automatically a 7 or 8 in her eyes. And that's why things started off so hot and heavy, and that connection was so there. That's something that you can't deny. Those are special. You're supposed to meet this person. And that has to be enough. You know, one of the guys I was talking to today, he was spending lots of money on this girl he was dating. And his belief deep down was, I don't have enough money, because he's an older guy dating a younger woman. In his mind, he thinks, I need to spend a lot of money on this girl in order to get her to like me. And that's trying to use someone or something outside of yourself in order to make you happy. In other words, he's trying to use money as a bribe for sex. Because deep down, what's going on is he doesn't feel he deserves her. So in order to make up for it, I deal with a lot of guys in Hollywood that do this shit. A lot of celebrities, a lot of entertainment people in the business, and they all, because they have a lot of money, they think if I buy her expensive things and I take her on my private jet and I do all these expensive things, she's going to like me. But deep down, what's really going on, even though they're successful in their business careers and they're shrewd negotiators and they get around a woman, they think, oh, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve her, so I need to buy and do all these things in order to make up for what I feel like I lack inside. And at the end of the day, you just do it for her. Attraction's not a choice. She either likes you enough to date you, or she doesn't. That is the absolute truth. And obviously you're not, some women that you meet and you really like, they're just not going to feel that way about you. And there's going to be some women that you're going to meet, they're going to be crazy about you, and you're not going to feel anything for them. And that's just the way it is. You can't get caught up on women who don't have mutual attraction. But obviously in this particular case, and with a lot of the guys that I talked to today, there was this magnetic chemistry that happened from the get-go. And those are the kind of relationships that can be effortless to the point where, like, you go out on your first date and you're kind of like always together after that. The problem comes, or the train wreck comes, when things start off hot and heavy for the first few days, and then those fears and those limiting beliefs kick in that I'm not worthy and I don't deserve her. And what happens is you start acting unnatural. You start trying to make up for it by pursuing too much or buying gifts. And it just, the whole thing becomes, instead of this amazing, magical vibe, this chemistry that is just automatically there, and you start trying to make up for what you feel. And it's all in your mind. It's all a total mind fuck. And when you start coming from a place of fear, then you start doing things that are unnatural. And it goes from being just like it is in the movies to being weird and creepy and awkward. And she starts saying things like, I need space, we need some time apart, that kind of thing. And it's not a lot of fun. It's, you know, when you're already gonzo and you have these fears, these limiting beliefs, and she pulls away and she pushes you away, then the natural tendency is to run after, to chase, to pursue, to try to do something to make something happen. And it's amazing. All these women will tell you what to do, but it's like the guy doesn't hear it. He doesn't listen because he's all in a state of fear and panic. He says, let's see here. He says, she's at least an 8. He says, I can't believe I'm dating her. We've been on about 10 dates. All have been amazing. At least you thought they were amazing. He says, except for the fact that we haven't had sex. You're probably being too nice. You're acting like too nice of a guy. And like one of the guys I was talking to today, that's what he was doing. The girl expressed that she was very religious, yet she's talking about other dudes that she's hooked up with in the past, and he hears that and he thinks, oh, well, I guess that means we're not going to have sex. And so then he starts to plan dates like in the day that can't lead to sex. And that's counterproductive. I mean, he's making out with this girl and she's all over him. And just because she says that, he thinks, oh, well, sex isn't going to happen. And so he presupposes that it's never going to happen. And that totally clouds his judgment instead of looking at the fact that what's really going on is she has a religious background and she's worried about being labeled a slut. But if it just magically happens, if she's able to just, when she's talking to her girlfriend, she's like, oh, we had the most magical, amazing evening. It's just, he did everything right. He was so passionate. And she goes into all the details. All of her girlfriends are going to be going, oh, that's so wonderful. As opposed to, oh, we just had sex and then, after we were done, he left. Then it's like, oh, you're a slut. But if she has this amazing, magical experience to share with her girlfriends, they're going to all be jealous and be like, oh, that's so wonderful. It's so great that that's happening for you. Because that's what it's like in the movies. That's what everybody wants. That's a special moment. That's a special evening. And if you handle things appropriately, you'll be able to get past the label of being a slut that obviously all women are worried about that. They don't want to have their friends thinking that they're loose and they sleep around. He says, we make out and she wants me to leave. So this is obviously, when it comes to the sex part. He says, we make out and she wants me to leave or won't come back to my apartment. She tells me that I'm hilarious and I look nice. And she broke up with her ex 4 months ago, who she'd been with for 5 years. She's really hot and cold. He says, 1 week we'll go out twice and then she'll say that she's working or busy the next week. This tells me that you're pursuing too much. And you obviously haven't read my book yet, because how the relationship should start off is you go out and you have one date. And then the next week comes around, you call her and you set the second date. And then what happens is she'll start calling you and she'll start texting you in between your dates. And then you'll use those as opportunities to set your next date. Now she's starting to pursue you. She's starting to chase you at this point. But what's happening is because he's all goo gaga over this girl, he's probably calling her and texting her and going out twice in 1 week. Or she may have been calling and texting him and initiating it, and he started acting all dopey, and then she backed off. And because he's thinking rationally, hey, we went out 3 times last week, or twice in this particular case, but I haven't heard from her in 2 days or a day. Something's wrong. Let me call her. And he calls her, and he makes a date to go out a couple of days later, but she's not as enthusiastic. Because women are like that. Women are like cats. And if you've ever been around a cat, what happens if you run after a cat to try to pick it up? It fucking hauls ass. If you do that to women, if you start running after women, they're going to haul ass like a cat. Because it makes them feel like they're going to lose their freedom. It messes with their safety and comfort. Women would rather come to you to receive you, but when you chase after them, they feel like they're going to lose. You're not acting like a man at that point. You're acting unworthy. You're chasing. You're over-pursuing at that point. That's why you always just stick with once a week. And when she starts calling and texting to pursue you, usually it happens after the second or third date. Then you just use those as an opportunity to set the next one. But the worst thing you can do is, like, when she backs off, you need to stick to the calling her and going out once a week. And then she'll start picking it up back again. But more than likely, he's probably also doing other things when he's on his dates with her that are causing her to push him away. He says she's all over me and into me, then she won't text me. Don't take it personally, dude. That's just how women are. They come and go. They're emotional beings, and it's all related to how you're showing up. When they sense weakness, that you're unsure of yourself or you like her more than she likes you, they're going to back away from you. He says, I don't text her for a few days, then she's all over me texting again. When she texts you again, make the next date and then leave the conversation. You're obviously getting in the habit and you're texting back and forth and you feel like, oh, I got to keep things going. I got to text. I got to create rapport with her. You don't have to do it. Just make the date and get off the phone. The phone is for setting dates, period. The more you talk her out of liking you. He says her ex lives in her building, and I was at her condo one night, and she had a problem something to do mechanically with her condo. The AC broke. And then she said that she moved into a friend's unit and started acting strange. Hooking up with the hey, if he lives there, at least he's acting like a man, obviously. He says she told me she's living with a married couple while her unit's being repaired and not living with him. So that sounds like you're accusing her of living with him then. That comes off as being needy, and that you fear you're going to lose her to some other guy. Your attitude should be, hey, if she chooses some other dude over me, it's her loss, and you really feel that way. He says, I asked her this weekend if she's seeing anyone else because she's acting a bit distant, and she said no. Again, more needy behavior. She's just busy at work and stressed and not handling it well. I've heard that excuse about 10,000 times now. It's like it's weird. Women they say the same things. They use, I'm really stressed. I asked her if I could take her out for her birthday, and she said it's hard for her to commit to anything during the week. Except for the fact that you've already had 10 dates with this girl. You see, it's like her words and her actions aren't reflective. She's trying to let you down gently. What's really going on is you've turned her off by your needy, over-pursuing behavior. He says she says that after she was all over me at the baseball game Friday night. Well, that was Friday night. The past does not equal the future. The only thing that matters is how you're showing up in the present moment. He says, I asked her to dinner this week, and she said potentially Saturday, but has a event that she has to do during the day, and she will try. Your response to that kind of a response is, all right, well, never mind. You know, when you figure out your schedule, give me a call. We'll plan something then, and you got to wait to hear from her. I know that's like when you're in this position, that's like the worst thing that you can think of doing. Wait, what if she doesn't call me? Well, if she doesn't call you, it means she's no longer interested because you turned her off. But you got to give her that space to come to you. You already have seen the fact that when you back off, she starts pursuing you again. He says, in the beginning of our dating, she told me I was too nice and not to spoil her, which I think I may have done. There it is. She told you what to do. How many times have I say when women like you, they make it easy for you, they help you, and she's trying to coach you on what to do, but you're not listening. In other words, being too nice is you're acting like a servant. You're treating her like a celebrity, like you have to wait on her hand and foot in order. It's approval-seeking behavior, and it's a turnoff. He said she was just all over me so much in the beginning, asking me to go on a trip with her on our very first date out of the country together, posting pictures of us on Facebook, and now she's just colder. You've over-pursued, dude. You've acted needy. You've been too nice, in her own words. He says, I've not chased too much. You're bullshitting yourself, bro. And I give her space. I just can't read her. Oh, I can read her fine. She's acting like any normal woman would respond to when you act weak. He says, what can I do to get her to commit to me and to hook up with me? Well, that's part of your problem. You're focused on a relationship, and you should be just focused on hanging out, having fun, and hooking up. Waiting for her to contact you at this point. When she reaches out to you, assume she wants to see you and make the next date, and just focus on having fun then, instead of worried about when you're going to spring the relationship question on her. It's a bad way to go. He says, she's the woman of my dreams. She doesn't want kids. She's career-oriented, and she's sexy as hell. He says, I hate to say it, but I'm in love with her. No, you're infatuated with her. You're in love with the idea of being in love with her. He says, I'm just trying my best to not show it. She is the one that I want, man. Please help me. It's cool if I don't have her, but it would really suck if it doesn't work. Well, you're chasing her right out of your life with your behavior. He says, I know I should be dating other women, but it's tough with these stupid meetings, AA meetings every night. In the beginning, she would text me immediately after dates saying what a great time she had with me. She doesn't do that anymore. That's because you've turned her off. You've pursued her to the point where she's lost her attraction for you. He says, I ask her out once a week or so, but it seems lately that she only goes out if it's some kind of expensive date. He says she doesn't seem interested in just hanging out at my place like in the beginning. Yeah, she's sliding you into friend zone and you don't realize it. She says she's working late every night after getting her promotion at work, and she's making herself unavailable to you. She's giving you excuses. She's probably dating somebody else. He says, I did tell her that I want to keep seeing her a couple of weeks ago. It's like, dude, she knows you like her. You don't need to tell her that. It's like your actions make it totally fucking obvious. He says she told me about the 5-year relationship she just got out of, but that she's interested in seeing me. Yeah, just going out, hanging out, having fun, and hooking up, keeping it casual. But she can tell you're all about the relationship, and that's why she's backing away. She pretty much is the main thing on my mind every day. Well, that's pretty obvious. She was talking about me meeting her friends, but doesn't bring that up much anymore. I haven't felt this way about a woman ever. Even with my ex-wife. I try to play it cool around her, but I think she knows that I am too into her. Yeah, that's pretty fucking obvious. He says, I want it to be the way it was in the beginning when she was all into me and doing the chasing. I've asked her out for Sunday this week, still waiting for a response. I won't text her until she texts me back. That's all you can do at this point. Do I still have a chance, or I have been too nice and available? Well, you've definitely been too nice and too available. And he says, I just started reading your book. I'm on page 5. You need to learn the playbook, bro, because otherwise you're going to screw things up unnecessarily. So what I would do if I were you is wait to hear from her. When you hear from her, make a date, hang out, have fun, hook up. Make a date in the evening. She won't make a definite date. Withdraw the offer and tell her to call you when she figures it out. And you have to wait for her to come to you. And then I would wait a whole week after that next date and then call her again. And unless you hear from her, if she texts you the next day or two after that date, then use that as an opportunity to set your next date. And then get off the phone. If she won't do that, if she says, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure of my schedule, then just say, hey, when you figure it out, give me a buzz, and we'll plan something in. And you got to wait for her to get back to you, because if you over-pursue, you're just going to keep pushing her away. I mean, so you're like in the danger zone of, it sounds like you texted her and she hasn't even responded yet. So you may be completely out, and you won't know unless you hear from her. The worst thing you can do is keep pursuing her. So if you'd like to get my help personally, the quickest way is to book a paid phone coaching session or email coaching, which you can do that by going to my website, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and just follow the instructions. And I will talk to you soon.